Yep. Pleased to meet you, Kim.
You, brother?
Yeah, that's good, Kim. So how did you hear about us?
I would like to think that I'm spiritually led.
Right.
I practiced Christianity most of my life, but just too many things. Older I got, just too many things wasn't adding up.
Understood.
So in prayer and meditation, I sought to. Actually, what I actually said was, before I leave this earth, I need to know the truth about spirituality.
Okay.
That was the conversation.
Right.
And within about 2 months, I came across one of your lovely brothers and listened to him by chance. Just turned the channel, and I just stopped at that channel and I started listening to it. I said, wait a minute.
Right.
This sounds about right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and ever since that day, I've been studying, picking up what I could pick up.
Okay.
And then found out that you guys was right around the corner from my house.
From your house, right? Almost as if it was meant to be, right?
Yes, divine.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
we definitely appreciate you coming. I will definitely extend love and gratitude to you as well. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
Okay. My first question was, so like I said, I really listened to on YouTube the OSM Vision. And it's a brother over in London,
Right.
Sabian Sahan Ray or Dr. Jude Joseph.
Right.
So I listened to him on that, and some other brothers too.
Right.
On YouTube. And then listening to him earlier today, he said that the Wu-Sabat culture is animist.
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 Yeah.
That's what he said.
Animist or animism, which is related to or the soul. It's A-N-I. I can tell you. A-N-I. Animism. M-I-S-M. Right.
And that's related to the soul.
Right. Or related to the soul. Right. And you can hear the word animated in animism. Some people think, oh, you're talking about animals. That's not it. It's animism, which is active, animated, the soul. We are living souls. So it's talking about that. Our culture is related to animism. That's one word.
Okay. Another question I had was this dish. Okay, let me ask you this first.
Yes.
You guys say Happy BABAH YAANAN so fast, I can't really understand what you're saying, but I pronounce it right?
Okay, I can do it for you slowly. Pa, P-A-A, which means the. The second word is Nabab. That's N-A-B-A-B. Nabab translates in English as master. So that they say Pa Nabab, and then his name is YAANAN. That's Y-A-A-N-U-W-N. YAANAN. Right. Pa Nabab YAANAN. Correct. Right. That's our master teacher. Pa Nabab YAANAN.
Okay. A lot of the students, teachers have Ray in their name. Why?
Correct. Ray is related to the sun or the head deity of the 99 names. Right. So the first of the 99 would be Atum Ray. And Ray means sun. You also hear the word Ray in Afaf Ray Ka, which is Afaf is of, Ray is sun, Ka is the spirit. Spirit of the sun, which would be us as well. So people think the word Africa means many things, but when you break it down etymologically and find out what's being said is Afaf Ray Ka, or Afaf or Say Ka. Hear Ray in that. So a lot of us have that Ray in our name because of one of the higher deities of our 99.
Okay, and by the 99, what do you mean?
Okay, let's say in our prayers or our chants, at the end of it we have 99 names or 99 Natharu. Natharu means overseers. That's N-A, D as in Delta, J-A-R-U. The U at the end denotes plurality. When you're speaking of one or more animated beings or people, you say Natharu, overseers, right? So when we talk about that, there are 99 names that we call on, 99 different Nathar or Natharu. And the first one is Atun Reye. So we have 4 different eras or phases of the Reye, or the sun. The first one is Anun Reye, A-N-U-N, Anun Reye, which is a feminine principle, because the woman is first. After Anun, you have Atun Reye, right, A-T-U-M. Then you have Atun, A-T-U-N, that's feminine.
What do you mean when you say that's feminine?
Because you have gender associated with these different deities. So Anun and Atun are feminine. Atun and Amun are masculine. So when you have 2 feminine and 2 masculine, you have complete balance. So a lot of times you hear Reye in our name is talking about the different deities. For example, I'll give you the first 9. Hey y'all, I see y'all. So the first, right? Let's say we say our chants and our prayers. So at the end of the chants and the prayers, we do the Natharu Nun, which means our overseers. So the first one is like they're broken down into categories. So the first one is Yeye Muftaru, right? And can y'all come back about 6 o'clock? I just spoke to him. The girls will be back at 6, and we got you. All right, I got you for real. All right, so I see y'all out there. Okay, bet. So there are different sections, right? Like Muftaru, that's M-U-F-T-A-R-U. And then we hear a mu in front of a word, that's denoting a person, one who is. In our language, we break it down to also person, place, and things, because we're on a 3-dimensional realm. So mu is for persons, ma, M-A is for a place, and M-I is for a thing. Like a book is called a misfar, M-I-S. But just to stick to what we're talking about with the Reyes, right? So the first section is called Yeye Muftar, which means all Aguads. Then the first one is Atun Reye, which means the exact sun, complete, undifferentiated one. So again, throughout the 99 names we call one, that's the first one. The last one, so remember I said Atun. The last one is what I mentioned as well, I'll go to that real quick, would be Amun Reye, which means oh hidden one. And that name has been around before the birth of Christianity. You find it used as Amen, that they say at the end of their prayers for the Christians. Amin, they say at the end of their prayers for the Muslims. And then you have Aman, that they say at the end of their prayers in the schools of Judaism. But all of them are actually giving reference to our ancient Egyptian deity called Amun, who's actually there. He witnessed the birth of creation of God. He was already watching. We saw that act as us. We were already existing. So when you hear Reye, a lot of people just attributing that to those deities. Right? Like one of my names is Amun Reye. That's part of my name. Alright, so there's different phases of the sun that we perceive while standing on earth. Each one of those have a section or a name that denotes what period we're in. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever question you have, definitely.
What is this dish over?
That's a craft.
It's a craft.
That's actually a craft called a sham. But we call it a henu. H-E-N-U, henu. The big ones are beacon. But for that one in that photograph, that's a craft. That's a henu. H-E-N-U.
Can you spell it again, please?
Yep. H as in hotel. E, N as in November. U, henu. Right.
And what is that representation of?
Those are the crafts that come for us because we're actually not from here. We're extraterrestrials. So if we elevate ourselves to the correct vibration and frequency, then they will come and pick us up, take us out of here. If you don't, and you actually live your full life and you're doing your best, then you go through what that is. That's a stellar. And that explains the upper part is what we do while we're alive. That's a being that's actually making his prayers and his chants to who? The Natharu. Yep, feel free to take a picture of that. So, as I'm stating, like up here is us. That would be you, that would be me. And as we do our chants, we're praying to the Natharu, which will be our overseer. Then after our physical life, because we don't die, but after the physical life ends, we come to what's called the Duat, or the underworld. And that's where you are being led by one of the deities. This is a ceremonial mass. This will be Anpu. This is where your heart is weighed against the weight of a feather. If you live right, it will balance out. And then once you get past it, as this fella shows, you were successful. So now you're here, being led to the next gateway or portal or vortex out to the higher realms. Right? So many people look at that and don't really know what they're actually seeing, but because we are their children, it's been explained to us by who? By YAANAN. He's making those things clear, so we know what to expect. He's the guide that lets us know when you live your life correctly, you're going to go through these different phases before you get to the higher realms. It's called the spiritual orientation.
And the ones across the top are those goddesses?
Gods and goddesses, yes, deities and deitesses. So you have male and female up there. It's 99 of them, which I mentioned. So we'll get you a copy of the chant. You can come at 3 o'clock next Sunday. We chant, you can hear it. I'll make sure we play it for you as well. So what happens is at the end, we're calling on all of those, all 99 of those, so that they can hear us and assist us through this physical journey. Right? So another word for the Hinu would be like a manjet in ancient Egyptian terminology. It's called a manjet. And that's like the boat of 1,000 crossings, meaning, again, as we go through the phases from Amun, Re, the hidden one, that means the sun is not visible, it's the hidden one. Then you have Anun, before the sun is appeared again. It doesn't rise or set, it's us setting on the planet, and we see it as it's happening. But there's no such thing as sunrise, because the sun is always there. As the sun is the center of the solar system, it doesn't move around us, we move around it. And as the Earth is rotating, sometimes we face it, which will be Atun and Atun. Then, as the planet rotates, sometimes we're facing away from it. That would be Amun and Anun, right? So the best way to explain that is that there's different phases of the sun that we're able to see and experience. And that's why you got the 4, 2 feminine and 2 masculine.
Okay. Is it also a true fact that time doesn't exist, clocks exist, things just are? Like
Right.
we do everything on a clock, but if the clocks was totally wiped out, we had no clocks.
Right.
We will still flow.
Right. It's called natural time versus unnatural time. You know, those clocks are like, they got different shapes now. But you have clocks that are circular, but you're going nowhere. It's just going around. So time, like in terms of past, present, and future, whenever you think of one or arrive at either of those, it's always a state called now.
Right.
Right? So if you think back at something you did in 3rd grade, once your mind time travels back to that point in time, you relive it. So you're back in the now. And of course, the present means you're living in the now. So if you say, I want to buy a car, I want to do this next week, you set that in your mind, like that's the future of next week. When next week arrives and that time to buy the car, you're buying it now. It's always in the state of now. You just have a then as the past and a then as the future. But it's one string line of existence that we all own. Then, you would draw, like if you want to write it out, you write the word now, and then you do an arrow going to the left of now, and an arrow going to the right of now. And by the point of each arrow, you put one as past and the other one as future. And now we're in the present. It's always now. Always now.
Okay, that was good. Okay, the double Ankh.
Yes.
It's an Ankh, or
Yes.
is it something else?
It's an Ankh, but it's called Ankh Twi. So I'll spell that for you as well. That would be ANKH dash, little hyphen, and then the word Twi, meaning TWY. Twi means double or two. And I'm going to show you up as I send you. What book is that I just had? Here. I can find it here quicker. Okay, so you go here. All right.
That's
This
the
one.
brother gave me this book. Yes, I have that already.
Good.
So
Oh, I
I
just got
have
that.
it.
Yes, and then it talks
Yeah.
about our ramaz, or our symbol. The word ramaz means symbol. It's one of our symbols. And what that denotes when we say tweet, it's denoting a double resurrection. Right? The first one you have is your mental resurrection. When you wake up and step out of religion and start saying that there is a culture or a way of life that predates religion. Once you come to that realization, that's the first resurrection. You're mentally now aware that there's something outside of religion that predates it. The second resurrection is, again, on that stella that we just talked about. When you go down to there, when you experience that, when you physically leave this body, which is composed of the 99 elements on the earth, when all of that ends, that when you escape the rule of inhale and exhale, now it's just your spirit and your soul. As you go on to those higher realms, that's the spiritual resurrection, or the afterlife, or it's called life after life. Because the Ankh itself denotes eternal life, or ever living. The Ankh is denoting, you know, the phases that you're going through. So that's one of our symbols. Which, by the way, can also be found in ancient Egypt. It's not anything that our master teacher made up. He's actually resurrecting our ancient language, our ancient knowledge, our ancient culture. He's giving that back to us. So in that, he's showing us, but that's in one of the temples of Hathor, that Ankh. All right. Yep. Yep.
I watched what has happened with him.
Right.
135 years.
Right.
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 I watched how they raised the compound.
Exactly.
I watched a lot of videos of people that was in the compound.
Right.
How many people said they have no proof against him. And
Right.
I'm astonished. I'm amazed at we have these politicians.
Right.
And we have people like Kim Kardashian,
Right.
Obama, freeing these people from prison.
Right.
How is it that no one has gotten him out yet?
Right.
Under 135 years, and he's been there for
20 going on 23 years.
23 years. How is it that people that can't happen?
Right. No, he was raising the minds and bettering the lives of so many Nagaru, us melanated beings, that they had to do something to stop him. So they falsely accused him, wrongly convicted him, and then those names of people that you mentioned, they're still all part of a certain party of people who don't want the truth out, who don't want the facts known. So they're going to always, whenever it gets close for him to be free in one of the legal measures, something else comes up. And they do that. They're the ones who control mass media. They control what we see and hear. They actually control the narrative of those beings who have not experienced the mental resurrection. So there's a lot of people right now that are still under a spell of sleep or nawam. And because of that, when you mention such a sensitive subject, such as child pedophilia, anything hurting a child, they will gravitate to that, but they won't get the same energy to study the facts of the case, to see that it was just so many prosecutorial malfeasance that they literally just railroaded this innocent man and gave him that time. They don't want to let him out. Yet still, they're listening to what he says about certain topics. Life above the sun, outside.
And then they share it in a different venue.
Correct. And claim it as theirs.
Yeah.
Like the Discovery Channel, a lot of that stuff about ancient Egypt and the stars and how did the ancient Egypt know how to make the 3 pyramids align with the 3 belts of Orion if there wasn't telescopes in the ancient days. That is bearing witness that there was extraterrestrial contact. In fact, many of us now who have ever sat at the Master Teacher's feet or heard his classes or anything like that, we are those beings who are alive and have actually spoken with an extraterrestrial. But they won't say that, but they're listening to him because they know he is the Master Teacher. And it's unfortunate, but their efforts are being made to free him, but we can't count on others, such as the Kardashians and those other politicians. They're just not willing to do it because they're side with the party that's against the upliftment of Nagaru. Plain and simple.
Do you think, or is it your hope, wish, or how you put that?
Okay.
That one day he will be, before he passes away, he won't pass away?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is definitely within our hearts that the actual facts of that will prevail. There's going to be something that's going to be done that will free him, right? We have enough of his students now where we can support the financial efforts without thinking, what do I get out of it? What you get out of it is the freedom of your master teacher. What you get out of it is your salvation in and of itself. Now, how many of us can literally say we were alive when any of those previous quote-unquote saviors came? We have one with us now, and it be to our detriment if we don't do everything that we can to free him. But yes, I'm firm acceptant of that reality that he's going to be free before he physically expires. Exactly.
I was watching when he first started on the court.
Right.
And one of the times when he came into court, he literally, physically looked broken.
Right.
But I'm thinking, because of who he is, and you guys see him as a prophet, right?
You see him as a savior.
A savior, okay, a savior, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
He's a savior.
Yeah.
So, and he knows who he is, and you guys know who he is.
Right.
I think if anybody can do that time, he can, because of who he is.
Right.
Like that average man can't go in and do 135 years, it's going to break him total.
Exactly.
Yes, but because of who he is, I believe that he's going to be all right. Strictly because of who he is,
Right.
and also who he has around him and,
Right.
and backing him.
Right. Right. Spiritually and mentally, he's strong enough.
Yeah.
And he's told us that I've died for you 1,000 times, because he's actually one of the higher beings from the higher realm, right? So he's already seen all of these things that were running before him. It's just want to see how much of our shuk or divine love he's actually given us, and how much of it have we accepted within ourselves, and how true, loyal, and diligent are we to him, right? To do what we can do to get him out. And if we're moving on that vibration, when he comes out, then you know who his true students are. It's really just like that. But yeah, he has the mental and spiritual proficiency and stronghold, right? What's it called? Mental wherewithal. He has that. But we have to understand he is an elder physically. The body cannot sustain being incarcerated well into his 80s and 90s. So we have to do our best to free him before those times come. You know? So yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he's able to have visitors, and I asked that because I want to know, how is he able to still teach?
Right. So he does have visits with his legal team. He has visits with his wives, and he communicates that way, and he can share those teachings that he still has to give to us. A lot of these books now that we are thinking are just coming out, he had already written them before he got locked up. Many of those. Because this is what he really came to give us. And he had to raise us up mentally to accept it. Because there was a point in time where we didn't understand that. When we first came to teach, he was teaching what we got now. We were still under the spell of religion. So after he gave a class on a certain subject, we circle right back around and ask religious questions. See? So he said, oh, I got work to do. Right? So the first 30 years, he committed his time to give of himself to teach us the 3 monotheistic religions, so that we would learn to walk up to the deity, take that mask off, and put it on ourselves, because we're deities in flesh. Right? So once he saw that we were being raised up to understand this, he says, now I can give you what I came to give you. Right? And not everyone can accept that, but everybody blooms at their own time.
So what you?
Yes.
Culture.
Yes.
You guys span, I know from London, because I'm in touch with the brother I told you about.
Right.
I was so ecstatic. When you got back in touch with me, I was so happy. Thank you so much.
So I appreciate the reach out.
Yes, I all the way from London. Thank you.
Right.
And he said I made this day because I told him I'm very interested in this.
Right.
This is my belief.
Right.
I have a lot to learn. I mean, a lot to learn.
Okay.
Because I'm a new one.
Yeah. You're new.
Baby. I'm
right.
a baby. I'm a baby in this. And but you guys stretch from London up and down the East Coast. And what about going over towards California?
I'm not sure if we have a bookstore, but we do have, we saw a family in California, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Connecticut, Philadelphia.
You guys are big in New York, right?
Yeah, that's the center. That's where it all
That's the
began. Yeah. Yeah, there's a temple in Brooklyn.
So is there times when you all come together like in New York? Or?
Yeah, we generally would come together for the Master Teacher's birthday, which is June 26th. It is a big celebration. Everybody from all over the world. We have family in Barbados. We have family in Trinidad, as well as, like you said, the family in London, things like that. So we have them all over, worldwide. So yes, when we have big events to honor and acknowledge the Master Teacher, we'll come together on those times like that.
I would like to do that because I was watching some of their videos,
Okay.
some of the parades that they had.
Yes.
And that's also for the students, not just for the teachers, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's for anybody. When we have these functions or events, everybody can come. That's not no invite only or you can't come. No, anybody can come. Yeah.
Okay. I have more questions, or do you
Okay.
need me to stop?
No, please, go ahead. Real quick.
I was watching earlier today, and I heard you mention that. I can't. How about? I'm gonna get this together at some point. I'm tongue-tied right now.
Mhm.
The Master Teacher, let me just say that.
Okay, good, yeah, right.
Had wives, and I didn't know that, but I was watching OSM Vision earlier today, and they was talking about how Wapian culture does relationships. Like he said that they don't do boyfriend girlfriends. He said what they do is when you're coming up, you're groomed for marriage.
Right.
So they'll walk around these boyfriend girlfriends or whatever the
At
relationship is.
young ages, we don't do that. In our culture, when practiced correctly, there's a courtship phase that has to happen between the male and the female when they get of age, right? So it's not like we're just walking around and we get physically attracted to the opposite gender and just run up on them and start. No, there's a certain process that should be taken. That way, they both go to the union with the right mindset, right? The reason that was done in ancient days, if you are familiar with the Dendera, or the sky map is a Dendera that's in Hathor's temple. Anyway, what happens with that is, when, let's say, what is your zodiac sign?
Virgo.
Okay, now, in our culture, you would only be mated or betrothed or be around a masculine who's also a Virgo, right? So when y'all get of age and y'all go through the courtship period, y'all get married, and y'all have children, the child will be planned. It's called planning, right? And it will be planned so that the child will be born a Virgo. So the true signs, instead of the mixture of signs like we did, because we had children out of different reasons, maybe love, maybe lust, maybe just been physical attraction, etc. But for you to be a true Virgo, that means your mother and father had to be a true Virgo. Their mother and father had to be a true Virgo, going back 4 generations. We have to get back to that, because that's called being born in due season. When you do that, you eliminate any mental deficiencies, any physical deficiencies, because you're actually following the alignment of natural nature. So that's what we're teaching our culture.
Okay, so how does that work? I'm 63 years old.
Uh-huh.
So how would that work for me as a person that's just getting this knowledge of how it should be? How does that work for me, being a 63-year-old woman?
You will pass it to your children now.
Okay, my daughter's 43, my granddaughter's 23, so
You still pass it down. You give them the information. So wherever it can begin, as long as it does begin with the feminine, you will have her say, okay, the youngest child, when she's of childbearing age, she would have to find or seek out a male who's the same zodiac sign as her. When they come together, she would explain our culture, because the woman is the first teacher anyway. So she would explain our culture to this man, this masculine. First of all, if you're really going to get together, you both have to have the same spiritual mindset. Otherwise, it's going to be conflict. So when you're tug of war, who's going to teach the child what? But if you're both coming to the doctrine, you have the same mindset, then he would also know that's the way it should be done. Right? So it's never too late. Not like for me and you, or him, or the rest of us, we've already passed that. And we're not having children anymore, we're past that. So you pass the information down to the daughter, to your granddaughter, she passes it down to her children, and then that generation going forward starts to turn the tide to get back on the right frequency. So that we're in line with those beings of the higher realms. So that's all. It's never too late, because you will be now the wisdom bearer.
So should a woman my age date?
If you're so inclined, because we're not supposed to be alone, right? So we're not supposed to be alone. Let's say you do find a masculine. There's still a certain process that you would go through. You have these conversations mentally and spiritually first before any true physical contact. that gets into genetic kiss, because you don't know that person. Once y'all exchange fluids of any sort, from a kiss, sweat, any type of intimacy, he's gonna bring all of his into you. You follow that? So you have to be very careful now. You have to be able to protect yourselves, whereas the men that we were growing up didn't know how to protect you, didn't have this knowledge yet. We're supposed to protect the feminine. So as a lady, you can still find companionship. You can still find intimacy in relationships, but you have to just do it correctly now. It has to be done on an intelligent basis first. When you find that like-minded person, you'll find comfort in that relationship. So it won't be a thing of, oh, we were good for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and now we don't speak. That's because there's different energies that came together, and the spiritual side of each of you did not find favor with each other. There was something in one or the other of you that didn't agree with the spiritual 30 spirits you had and the 30 spirits he had. They don't get along. And then they present themselves in arguments between you two.
But I was thinking that a Virgo and a Virgo, feminine and masculine, it would be so much alike that it would repel.
Except for if it is a Virgo male and a Virgo female, they're using opposite sides of the brain. So they're not going to be alike. There's going to be certain things that are similar, but the way you each process certain situations will be very different. That's the coming together. So when the right brain and the left brain learn how to work together, anything that comes from that will be perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Last question, and I'm going to let you do female teachers. In my studies, I ran across maybe 2 in my studies, student teachers, female. Where are the women? But how do I connect?
We're gathering them now because there are a lot of females in our doctrine who literally know the doctrine, right? But because of the society, not within our culture, some remnants of it, but in the society, they always taught us male first. So in our culture, we're looking for our student teachers, and as men, we're just there to protect. So we have classes here. Again, this is a newly opened bookstore, but we're going to get back to the things that we used to do, which is like family fun night and spiritual night on Thursday. And it's in these environments where we seek out the student teachers. There are females now within our culture that are beginning to teach over in Brooklyn. So we have females here that are going to be also starting to teach. So if that's something that you find that you want to do as well, you just make it known. But we have female teachers, just not as prominent right now as the male teachers. But we're waiting to give way. We're waiting to give way so that y'all can teach, because there's a certain frequency that the feminine has when she's teaching and lends ear to everyone. Unless the person is a male who's chauvinistic and doesn't want to accept natural nature, he may not listen. But that's not what we're about. We actually want our feminines to teach, because that's natural nature.
Okay, also as a new person,
yes.
Sometimes, like when I came in here the last time, like your brother was speaking of, some of it I understood, some of it I was totally confused. I just didn't have no understanding of it.
Okay.
But is there a beginner's class, or is there beginner's books that I should be reading as a beginner to guide me along the way also? Right.
So when it comes to our culture and our doctrine, we would never say to you, you should begin with. What we do is what you did when you walked in. You looked at the books, whichever one your soul gravitated to, that's the one that you would get. As far as the newcomers class, this would be that. So when you are, you're in the right place. It's just maybe when you come in, there may be some other students who may be further along that you think further along. So they may ask a question about a topic you're not familiar with, but we'll still teach on that. But when you raise your hand and say, hey, I got a question, wherever you at, that's where you ask.
Oh, I wasn't sure about that. I thought you had to ask a question about the topic, whatever you
No. Question and answer classes for any question that any person may have. So like I said, you ask the question that you have, because that's your soul is yearning for that information. So that's our job. It doesn't matter what level. We don't look at it as levels, because to the master teacher or Father BABAH YAANANan, we're all babies. We're all newbies. He has 76 trillion years of knowledge. So there's nothing that we can ask him for him to go, He'll be like, okay, you ready? He goes like that. So feel free, anything that you have.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're more than welcome.
anything you want to share?
No, I'm just listening.
Just listen.
So he's just listening. That's right. That's good though. You came ready with questions.
Yes, I'm eager to learn. I'm eager to grow.
Right.
I'm eager to wake up.
You here. The fact that something inside you says, I want to ask, that lets you know right there that you're ready.
Is it a, is it a coincidence? No, I can't say it's a coincidence. Why is it that, and I know this is in the spiritual realm, why is it that I'm able to quickly feel people's energy and their joy and their pain? Why real easily, like I can just be around a person and just like that I pick up their energy. If a person is negative, I pick it up and I move away. If a person is happy and crying, I'm crying with them.
Right.
If the person is hurting, I'm hurting with them. Why do I connect to that? Because I don't want to, because it's overwhelming sometimes. It is very overwhelming.
It is. It can be. It can be. So you may just be a more highly sensitive spiritual being. So vibrations are actually a thing to you. You can pick up on that, right? So there's a word for people like that. You can say, I have empathy for that person. If you do, that means you are an empath. E-M-P-A-T-H. Right? And in our language, M is also another word for of. And Pat will be one of the deities called Ptah, which is the opener. So you may be of those openers, meaning you're open to people's energy. And that's how. So what you want to do is you want to develop what's called psychic self-defense. Meaning you be able to protect yourself from all the influx of energy that you get. And once you decipher or discern what type of energy it is, you can deal with it accordingly.
How do I do that? Because
just by studying the books. Because this is a healing doctrine. It actually repairs your DNA. It actually allows you to be able to mentally assess at a higher rate the type of energy you come involved with. And then once you learn how to have that psychic mental self-defense, it will defend you so that person's energy won't make you change.
So it's mentally protect myself.
Actually, it's mentally and spiritually, but it starts with the mind. Because when you get to the higher realms, you have the physical plane where we at, the plane of force, the spiritual plane, the plane of souls, then the mental plane. So everything starts from the mind, because before you ask a question, you have to what? Think of it. Then you told the brain to ask it. Then the brain told the mouth to verbalize it. So everything starts in the mental. Right? So yeah, you're on the right path. The more you read, you're going to realize how this doctrine, it literally heals us all the defects that we got from mixing in with other races. At one time, we were the pure seed, the pure race only. We had right thinking. We were definitely connected with our ancestors, which we call Salafu. We were definitely connected to the overseers. Salafu is S-A-L-A-F, as in foxtrot, hyphen, and then the U at the end. Again, when we're talking about a being, an animated being, it would be U at the end. But when we greet each other, we say Rahubat, means greetings. That's again another plural. But because it's just a greeting, it's not a thing, or not a person, the plural sign would be A-A-T. So once you learn the language, you'll be able to discern from the animated to the inanimated and learn how to put the suffix on it. Because our language itself is a thinking language. You say what you mean and you mean what you say. The more you learn it, you'll be able to pick up the different nuances within the language. And in that way also, because when we're speaking our language, we form, our mouth structure forms a certain thing. But it also creates a tone. And that tone also links us up again with Father and Father. Once we link with them again, they see us as their children, like, oh, they're raising up in vibrations. They can actually come and assist you with certain things. But it's just a certain comfort. It's a certain comfort that we find when we link back up with our ancestors. There's no disruption. And unfortunately, the thing with religion, there's a disruption. They say that when I transition, my sons, they're supposed to just go, he's gone, he's passed away. That's not it, right? Because over, as in terms of my physical life, over simply means above. Doesn't mean gone. So they had us break our link with our ancestors. But that's not what we're supposed to do. When Isaac and our relatives from the South, when they passed on to the higher realms, they're really right here, because there is no separation of the realms except for density and frequency. In other words, they're in this room with us right now, running low frequency.
And those frequencies don't never die, right?
No, it's energy that cannot be destroyed. It can only change form, which is what we do. We change form from a physical being to a spiritual being, to an esoteric being, to an etheric being, right? So to a mental being, things like that. So we have to keep that. That's a reality. Religion deals with irreality, or they're going to wherever they're going to, when they're really right here. How do you know? Because sometimes they speak to you, right? They're really gone. I can have certain dreams about them. I can certain things that let you know they're still here to guide us, but we have to make and keep that connection with them, which is why we have altars where we can speak to our relatives and just have a conversation with them if they're still here. But it's important that we make the connection while we're both on this side of hydrogen. So you with your daughters and your granddaughters, you make a link with them. So when you transition, yeah, they're going to be sad because they can no longer hug you in that sense. But they're going to have a greater understanding that you're still here with them. And that will get them through those tough times because you're right there to comfort them.
I find myself connecting to my ancestors
Yes.
through sleep paralysis.
Okay.
And that's hard. It's hard. I'm trying to come out of it.
Right.
While it's in it, when I'm in it, it's blissful. It's loving. It feels so warm and
Right.
positive.
Right.
But then when it's time for me to come out of it, it's rough.
Because you feel that sense of leaving and you
Yeah.
can't. Well, sleep paralysis is what it is.
Yeah.
When you're conscious, but the physical is not responding to your commands.
Yeah.
Wake up, move my arm, you want to talk. You're doing all of that consciously. So what happens is we have to understand that there are certain conditions of consciousness. There's certain levels of awareness. The fact that you can be conscious when you're in that state, meaning that you have a higher level. We got the superconscious, the regular conscious, the subconscious, and then you got that other one where you can actually go and astral project to different places, such as where your counterpart lives. If you can do that and still be conscious of the experience, when you wake up, write it down. And you keep that connection. So it's called conditions of consciousness. We all have that. We just have to access it. Because right now, think about it, this quote-unquote technological advancement with the smartphone makes us dumb. When you and I were younger, we didn't have these phones. Did we not remember all our relatives' telephone numbers and addresses? Because you had to, right? They've removed that. So what happens is we're using less of our brains now for the convenience of these quote-unquote smartphones. So the phones are smart, but we're not. If something happens to the phone, we're stuck. I can't remember. So I make it a habit of knowing my son's telephone number, and they know my number. In case something does happen to the phone, we can still get in touch with each other, right?
The same thing even with the television. We don't have to get up. We can lay in the bed for hours and don't move and just so like less exercise.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. It makes you like a true couch potato.
Yeah.
You know, they call it binge watching when it's really watching you. You're like this, and you know they're programming you with the advertisements, etc., etc. We have to get up, get out into that sun, let it activate that neuromelanin as well as the physical melanin, and walk around. That's the best exercise, just to walk, just to breathe. But it's not conducive 100% to breathe when we're at these cities. However, take a trip to the country where there's less congestion and you get that sense of fresh air. Or leave the country altogether. Go visit one of the tropical islands. Go up in the mountains, you know what I mean? But it's a little cold up there. We're not naturally built for the cold.
I notice when I go up in the mountains, which I don't do often because it gives me a migraine headache for some reason.
It's different altitudes and things like that.
It gives me a headache, so I don't do it.
Right. So it's different things that we can do to enhance. Like we have a circadian rhythm, meaning certain hours of the day, our body's supposed to do certain functions. We have to get back in line with that circadian rhythm. And once we do that, we start to notice a greater feeling, a lighter feeling. You know, chanting, meditating, speaking our language, things like that. Coming around people who are spiritually like-minded actually charge us. We charge each other so we can deal with a lot of the nonsense that we're in the public. Because once you become conscious, as I was talking about, those conditions of consciousness, you're going to start to see life in reality. And it's not a good picture. Because that spell that the majority of people are under has them moving around like walking zombies. Yeah. So when you see that, how comfortable can you be when you're not one of those? To be around, you start to find yourself withdrawing from a lot of the places and people that you were around at one time. So now you want to seek those people who are vibrating like you on that level. And that's what the spiritual night that we have comes into play. You come around and you hear all of us chanting. And once we start really perfecting the chant, we all develop one heartbeat. The thump becomes one. The thump, you're the thump is my the thump. My the thump is your the thump. And that we sound like one voice.
So the chant is not just the teachers who teaches, it's also
everybody who's a Sabian, exactly. Anybody who's a Nuwapi is a Sabian. You should chant it. It's 3 times a day. 4 if you're up at 3 a.m., but it's 9 a.m., 3 p.m., 9 p.m. Again, if you're up at 3 a.m., I would chant, because that's really the hour for the disagreeables to be active, late night.
Yeah, something happens at that
right.
time.
It's a witching hour. And it's also where people who find a scroll, where people who translated that day, that's where the gateway of what they call it, death or transition, it opens. And those beings are traveling. And I'm going to find it for you. It's easy to find it. And I'll read it. This book is called Actual Fact, number 29, Takus Wu Tabrush. In English, that's reflection and projection. If you don't have any, we'll get some more. So I just want to read the part about what happens at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Okay, here we go. So, the part we're talking about is how these spirits and energies travel about, right? So, we're going to talk about these beings that are spiritual beings. They want to get back on this side. So we have to be very careful. That's where that psychic self-defense comes in. So, on verse 32, the Master Teacher BABAH YAANANan says, "Now, if these beings link to a person who welcomes their evil ways or have their own evil ways," verse 33, "the being or spirits, specters, can use electric energies around that person to draw power and build their electric energy to cross over into the person or an object." Verse 34, "These beings affect objects in order to cause the person to fear." So they do things to make you fearful of them. Because what happens when you become scared or have fear, you emit a certain energy. They eat that, they consume that, right? So these beings affect objects in order to cause the person to fear, and is a powerful form of energy which the spirit can then draw closer to this realm and affect things in or around that person. Verse 35, "They are able to do such things as make lights blink, open or close the door, turn on small toys, and start in cars." 36, now we're moving into the question about late night. 36, "The stronger they become, the more they can affect objects in this physical world." 37, "And then we'll be able to force open a gateway at any time, and not just the appointed time between 2:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. when death's gates open to receive those, pardon, when death's gates open to receive those that died that day." Verse 38, "This happens each shadow hour at 3 a.m. for orientation of the rules of the spirit and what to expect next." That's once you pass through that end of that stellar, you see where Asar is sitting, you have the 2 females behind him. That's like a doorway, a back way, a gateway. You go through that, and that's when you learn what to expect in the spiritual realm. Because each realm or plane of existence has its rules. Now, we're physical now. We're waking up the spirits within us and the soul within us. So we need to know what to do when we get to those realms. We're being prepared for that through this doctrine now. But once you go through there, you have what's called spiritual orientation, when you learn the rules of the realm that you're on. So, at 3 a.m. for orientation of the rules of Ka'ah, spirit, and what to expect next. 39, "At that hour, many specters also cross over into this realm by force, or ritual, or offering, sacrifices and accidents, wars, hate crimes, and the likes, draw evil specters into this realm each shadow hour against the rules of death." So now, what happens is that the Master Teacher explained that to say that when we, at 3 a.m. at night, instead of coming home from a party when they're busy, that's when they're most active, these disagreeable spirits. They're getting energy from the people that they cause fear, and they can force their way in. As the spirits of those beings who transition are going out, it's an open gateway. So you have those that transition going out to learn the rules on the next round. You have those on that round who want to come back and feel the sensations of this realm. So they use accidents, wars, untimely passing of people to jump inside them to feel that. We have to be aware of that. So that's what we're saying. So at 3 o'clock, if you're up, chant. Because when you're chanting at 3 a.m., you're sending a different frequency out. Your frequency you're sending is agreeableness or positiveness. So if you're up at that time, yeah, chant. But 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m. is when we chant, and we can do that congregationally. Yep. So 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m. Also 3 a.m. if you're up. All right, I see some people are watching as well. Rob back to those that are watching with us. If you have any questions, type them in. But if you still have questions, me and you can certainly still continue. Because there's a lot to absorb. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. The fact that your soul has perked up by watching our family from London, reading the scrolls, that means this is where you're supposed to be. It's supposed to be where you're at, when you're there. And that's now. So still dealing with now, you know? Exactly.
Okay, so is there a video of the chant that I can look at?
Yes, I will give you the link. It's on YouTube, right? And then once you're there, you play it, right? You're going to hear how it sounds, learn the tone, learn the cadence, but it also comes with the words, so you can see the words. All right, let me get that for you. Okay, so of course it's going to be H as in hotel, T as in tango, T as in tango, P as in papa, S as in Sierra, then the colon, then you get the 2 backslash. Those first letters in the backslash that you know that you're going to a secure site. That's all that means. After that, you're going to put U, Y-O-U, T, U, period, B, E, slash 93 lowercase s as in Sierra, capital U, lowercase b as in Bravo, R, capital L, capital N, lowercase w, capital C, capital M, question mark. Sounds like a lot, but I'm going to tell you what the type is just to go straight to it, but you will have this as well. Then you have lowercase s, lowercase I, equal sign, capital A as in Alpha, lowercase p as in Papa, capital M, lowercase J as in Juliet, lowercase g as in golf, capital C, lowercase u, another hyphen, we're almost done, capital N as in November, capital R, yeah, NR, and then lowercase L, lowercase v, V as in Victor, lowercase k, capital C, the number 9. When you press that, just in case it don't work, this is what you type. You just go to YouTube, and I know how you share. Just type June 2023 Ranun. I'll spell that for you. R-A-A-N as in November, U-M. Just type that. Once you type that, you're going to see the words. And then just listen to it and read the words. You're going to learn it like that, right? And then just save it to your phone, and at 9 a.m. if you're able to, put your headphones in, turn it on, listen to it. 3 p.m. do the same, 9 p.m. do the same. If you're up at 3 a.m., do the same, you know, and you'll have the chance. But once we get back in tune, we're going to be coming here on Thursdays. Right now, we're not. I have to go to Brooklyn on Thursdays, but if we get somebody else that can come on Thursday or whatever day we decide, I don't know if you have the store phone number, I'll give that to you. I'll give it to you. I'll give you the flyer, actually, the flyer. And then just call, say, hey, are y'all chance tonight? We haven't decided. I think we're going to move to a Saturday, which is good. Or if you come here on a Sunday at 3 p.m., we can chant that way as well. So either way, you'll have access to it. All right, so again, round back to those who are watching with us online. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, I do want to reiterate that we do know the conference call is going on now, so a lot of people may not be in here with us today or online watching as well. We do understand that. If you have any questions before we do end class, feel free to ask. If you have any more, Kim, I'm on tap. Kim, if you have any more,
I'd like to listen to you for a while and then I'll ask you.
all right, all right. For you, like we normally don't do like the lecture thing, but I want to read something to you.
Okay.
All right. One of the questions that you did ask was on the craft or the Hinu.
Yes.
So let me see. I'll pull up an update on the Hinu. Yeah, I'll pull up an update on the Hinu, and we can go through that. And if you have any questions, let me see if I can find it real quick. I think I can. Type in Hinu. Yeah, welcome. Take a look around. You see the pictures of our deities on the wall. Let's see. I see you found it.
Yes.
Okay, I see you found it. I'll find one of the updates from the Master Teacher. Okay, that's the chant. You got that already. I'll read one of the Pataraks. It's called The Onlookers. It's not in book form yet. All right, so this is called The Onlookers. 1. Lo, Sabaeans, Nuwapians, let me tell you of us. 2. It's as if we are inside a big open room. 3. The big room has windows. 4. Yet they are very thick and strong windows. 5. And we Sabians are on the inside of this big open room. 6. We are enjoying our way of life very much. 7. The musicians were over in a far corner in the big open room. 8. Yet the big open room is so filled with Sabians enjoying ourselves. 9. That you cannot see the musicians, for there are too many Sabians in the room. 10. So we dance, clap, and whirl in joy. 11. Having so much fun dancing and spinning to the music. 12. Those not Sabaean, Nuwapian, come along. 13. They say, what is this going on in this big room? 14. All they could see was many Sabian Nuwapians enjoying Wu-Sabat and Nuwapu. 15. Dancing, whirling, and spinning, having so much fun. 16. The onlookers who were not Sabaean Nuwapians come close to the window from outside, just looking and seeing what looked like madness to them. 18. And they said to each other. 19. Those crazy Sabian Nuwapians are truly crazy. 20. Look at them, acting crazy in their Wu-Sabat Wu-Nuwapu. 21. One said to another, I told you, Sabians Nuwapians was madness. 22. They looked on and they gossiped. 23. They took a peek inside and they slandered. 24. For you see, because 25. The musicians were far in a corner, the onlookers could not see them. 27. And you see, because the windows were so thick. 27. The onlookers could not hear the music. This, my children, is how they see Sabaeans, Nuwapians, in the joy of celebrating our Wu-Sabat, Wu-Nuwapu, with so much joy. The onlookers don't hear the music of our Patarak. So that's how it is sometimes when you become conscious. Those who don't know what you're talking about, and don't see the whole picture, they make these judgments about us. It's like how we do other people.
No, that's
so
not for sale.
Not to judge, not to gossip, not to slander. Right? That's for the onlookers. So either you want to be an onlooker or you want to be one who participates.
I've seen people call this a cult. I've seen that.
Right.
Yeah.
All the while
Different
not
prices.
realizing cult is short of
Different
culture.
prices, 5, 10, 15,
So
20,
because people
25,
feed
30,
them this
35.
type of
Thicker they
information,
are, the
they
more it costs.
assume this is a cult. And all we're trying to do, and all we are doing,
Of course, we
is
make it
our
reasonable
best
for us.
to live our culture.
High price thing.
Yeah.
Hey man,
But I was just wondering, well, there's many of them.
You ain't got one question you're going to ask them.
Yes.
It got to be anything. It ain't got to be about anything that you, anything about life, about children, about women, about anything. It don't matter. Science, math.
Walk by the clock thing, not by sight.
Right. Thought. The thought.
Okay.
The thought. You're right. That's faith. That's what that means. So what happens is,
Oh, okay.
in our books, right, the beauty of our books and our doctrine is, while you're learning this affirmation, how to better your spiritual self, you're also learning your language. So fakak means faith, as opposed to hakak, which means facts. Right? So we're about facts, we're not about faith. It's facts. You know, because faith is blind, meaning you don't see what it really is.
I have another question.
Sure.
Is Ptah the deity? Is Ptah the deity of all deities, or is there such a thing?
Right. So yeah, Ptah, for this 25,000 year cycle, Ptah is the deity who opened the way for the next 25 year, that next 25,000 year cycle called the equinox that we're going through now. So he is the opener. And by way of him opening all of this right knowledge, then there was one scent called YAANAN. So when you play the chant, right? When you play the chant, the first thing that you see, right, is going to say Barur, Barur, Barur. Nabab, Nathar, Mudar. Now Barur, B-A-R-U-R, means holy. So Barur, 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 holy, holy, holy. Nabab, we wrote that down, that means master. Nabab and Nathar, we went over that, that's overseer. Muqdar is almighty. So right after that, you go Na'ut, Muqdad, Badad, Fatah. Na'ut means no. Muqdad means deity or God. Badad means accept. Fatah. The next line says Na'ut, Muqlas, Badad, Yanun. No savior except for Yanun. So in this 25,000 year cycle, Ptah will be the head deity. He's the one who opened the way to begin this next cycle. One was sent to teach us how to survive this next cycle. Meaning we must raise ourselves in prominence back to our non-etheric self, which is the highest self we can be physically. That's non-etheric.
So when you chant to Ptah, are there other gods and goddesses included in that chant?
Yes, that's at the end of the chant. The 99, that includes all of them, right? And what it is you may not be familiar right away with the names, what they mean, but the chant that I gave you tells you what each one means. And Ptah just means the opener. He's the one who opened the way for this next 25,000 year cycle. I'll find it. I'll find it. If I don't, I got another one I can read real quick. We can maybe get that.
Does it take many years to learn the language?
No, when we pick up the language again in classes here, with active participation, you could be proficient in 6 months. Yeah, it's not that difficult. What it is, because we've been raised using another language so much, we're fighting with ourselves to process that. Once you get the rules down, you're like, oh, it's just about building vocabulary.
Yeah, I watched the video of the language.
I know. No, don't look at it like that. You got it. You start off with the common words, things like that, things that you know you're going to say to somebody every day. Then you just merge into the conversational dialogue. So yeah, we have language classes as well. We'll definitely make sure you get in on that.
And what is the language called?
Miss Batia. See the M-I means a thing. So it's M-I-S-B-A-T-I-Y-A. In English, you want to just say Sobek or Sabbatic. But in our language, we miss the thing that you speak. Miss Batia. Way down there. Okay. I'm going to read a little bit from another one called The Atomic. Just when you come to class again, remind me earlier, say, find the Hindu bill.
Find what?
The Hindu bill. I wanted to read that, but I can't find it right now. But there's another one I'll read, a little part of called The Atomic.
Excuse me.
Yes, brother.
Adam black or white?
Adam, the word Adam comes from Adama, and it really means red or ruddy. Adam was actually not created, he was made by extraterrestrials. So we have a book that's coming from the degree of religion that explains by the scriptures what he actually looked like. But the Adam or Adama Salah, which means the Adamic race, they were Kakasu, which is our language, meaning they were pale people, which means red and ruddy, constructed of mud, things like that, where we were not.
of their clothing that the women wear?
The women are, the feminines are getting similar clothing that would be the cultural garb. But right now you can wear anything that's colorful and that has, again, the like an African tint to it. You know what I mean? Like you get a nice African garb, you can definitely wear that. Y'all are going to have your own specific clothing line coming shortly. It's just not out just yet.
And what you have on is called what?
This would be like the civilian man's outfit, where it has the language, Wu-Sabat right here. You have the tweet, and it's black and gold. Those are 2 of our 4 colors. We have tribal colors, black, gold, red, and white.
What did you say it's called again? It's the
This Sabian man's outfit up there.
And the hat?
This is called the crown. It is called a kitar, Kitar. And the word kitar means the observatory. And those who wear it are called muqtar, ones who observe, or the observant ones. That's just another affirmation that we were here as things came into existence, or as things were created. We watched creation happen. We observed that. And our Panathalu, or our ancestors, they watch us now. They observe us to see how we're vibrating, or raising ourselves up to be able to commune with them again. Right? So yeah, this is a crown called a kitar.
I have my own t-shirt printing business.
Yeah.
And I'm able to print that. Is it out of line for me to print the double on it? Is it out of line for me to put anything about Wu-Sabat on it?
No, it's not out of line. It's just if you make it for yourself personally, it's all up.
Right.
If, and let's say you want to make it and you want to sell it, then yeah, just you want to give what's the word? Like some type of percentage back to the office to help build the nation. That's fine. So make some, bring it over. Let me see what it looks like. I thank you. All right, so I'm reading a little bit of the atomic, and if you don't have any other questions, we get in class and we can just still talk, whatever. So this is called the atomic. Question: Supreme Being Yanun, can you speak to us, your children of the atom, please? Answer: well, first things first. You as Par Mungar Nagar Nadu, which means us, Nagar, are all supreme beings. Dahim Perfect, that means understand that. Question: Adam is English for Atum, the true natural nature of existence you once taught us, right? Answer: yes, that is the actual fact. Do you remember what I taught of how an atom is constructed? Question: kind of. Can you tell us again what you know of it? Answer: well, for starters, jewels of my eyes, remember, it's a positive center and electrons that are negative and go in circles around the center. Question: and what are the electrons? Answer: bits of matter. Question: Master Teacher, what does that really mean? I'm not for certain. Answer: actually, electrons, Harubat, and other subatomic particles, Zarutat, aren't in the least bit solid. They are bundles of energy. The charges of electricity they are represented to possess are merely a convenience to explain certain attractions and repulsive relations to charge and magnetic fields. Question: are they moving? Answer: yes. Every particle within an atom moves in an orbit. Even a proton in the atom's nucleus travels a very tight orbit, which determines its apparent diameter. Question: is that the only movement? Answer: no. In addition to orbiting, there's another motion of all subatomic particles, and this motion is called nutation. And it's very important for you all. It's very important for you all to understand nutational motion. Question: why, Master Teacher? Answer: because it is the very key to the secrets of this one universe and the complete omniverse, or the all, that is, every subatomic particle spins about its own internal axis of rotation. You see, each particle in this physical omniverse experiences a nutation period of precisely the same rate. Question: exactly, Yanun, what does that mean? Answer: well, it means that each subatomic particle of matter and each quantum particle of electromagnetic energy spins upon its own axis, just the way this planet Earth turns on its poles, and that all these axes bubble at one constant rate, regardless of the energy or mass of the particles. And it's important that you all distinguish between spinning and orbiting. Although all particles spin, those particles which also travel in closed orbits comprise matter, whereas energy particles travel in straight lines. Energy can be converted to matter and vice versa, yet the nutational rate of these particles never varies, nor is there any physical power in this universe which can alter the nutational rate. One with overstand and understand that? Question. No, not really, Master. Yet I ask, can you make it clear for this class, please? Answer. Well, as you will all see, material matter is essentially a concept of your sense receptors, which themselves are of the same matter. This very world and everything in it is composed of atoms, yet atoms are only packages of energies whose seem, solidity, and integrity are due to the circular motions of their components. An atom is almost entirely empty space, consisting of a certain blob of whirling energy sheathed by the origin, operation, and of orbiting electrons, describe a more or less spherical shell of energy. Yet students do not imagine that the shell can make the atom a hollow ball or some concreteness, yet the actual fact is emptiness in which the subatomic particles exist can be visualized by the supposition that is the nucleus of an atom when enlarged by the size of the solar system. Sun in the shell, described by its electrons, will be 12 times greater than the diameter of the solar system. So he's going to go into that a little more. You see a pound of element Fe26, which is iron, which seems quite solid and pondered by comparatively vast reaches of emptiness, and this illustration also applies to your own bodies. The cells which comprise your tissues, nerves, and blood are of the same intangible swirls students enrolled. Do you have these concepts pretty well in mind? Question. We think so, except that we have never really understood what a quantum is. Answer. It's an electromagnetic energy such as radio, heat, light, X-rays. All can be envisioned as transversing the ether in the form of bullets or packages called quantum particles. There's quantum physics and quantum entanglement. Those are two different things. Question. We have heard of radio waves traveling on ether, Master Teacher, yet what is ether? That's a good question because we're non-ether beings. What is ether? Answer. The entire omniverse, down to this one universe, is permeated with a basic energy, which and whom are you might say of a rarefied concentration, compared to the energy bundles which compare atoms and quantum particles. It's hard to conceive of basic energy with the same understanding, or should I use understanding? For here and now, associated with energy, for the basic type has no motion and cannot impart force. It is quiescent, passive, imperceptible. It is the mother of energy and matter. It is that form which all things are created. Yet despite its all-pervasive nature, about the only evidence known by us of its existence is the wave phenomena of the propagation of light. Question. What does ether do? Answer. This basic energy or ether imposes a limit on the speed of light. Otherwise, you might expect a quantum of light to achieve any speed, depending upon the amount of energy that can be exerted upon it. If the space was truly emptiness, nothingness, then radiated energy would be able to travel at any rate in an infinite range of speeds, instead of having an upper limit, which they have named the speed of light, which is 186,272 feet per second. All electromagnetic radiation travel at exactly the same maximum speed, through space, whether it be low energy radiation or high energy radiation. I pray you all can at least understand this well analogous to the way that air is the carrier of sound vibrations. The basic energies as particles comprising electromagnetic radiation proceed through space chattering effect, with wave-like pulses results. The more energy a particle has, the greater is the frequency of its chatter. Are you all following my explanation? Very clearly, question, very clearly, Baba, yet, ... Answer, fine. Let us not forget that as Nuwapian saviors of Wu-Sabat, I wish to explain reincarnation, pre-science, and telepathy, and if time allows, teleportation from this realm to the outer space and to Orion and or Sirius star systems, your original abodes. I went into detail concerning atoms and energy, so you will have a basic understanding for more transcendent concepts. What I plan for us to discuss next in this class is also basic, and although it will be entirely new to most of you, kindly remember that many brilliant people outside this most fictional Bible and Quran base their knowledge of life and death and after upon these actual facts. And now that you all have a fair amount of understanding of the inanimate physical world, we will discuss the phenomena of living things in relatively simple terms. Question: which one, Master? Answer: well, let us begin. There are 9 planes, abodes, realms of existence in this universe. Question: Master Teacher, are there more or less in other parts of the omniverse? Answer: yes, some have more while others have less. Well, in this one, the physical abode is the lowest of the 9, and it consists of atoms of matter and quanta of energy ordered by time. The physical plane is referred to as the lowest abode or realm because nutational rate of its constituents, atoms and quanta, has the slowest frequency of the 9 planes. This planet, the stars, and the light you see are all of this lowest nutational rate. I did not include this moon because it was made and placed where it is as an observation station, a satellite inhabited by grays. So, each of the 9 planes of existence consists of atoms and quanta, and each plane is differentiated from the others by the nutational rate of the material and energy composing of it. Therefore, there are 9 nutational rates. The unnaturally created hybrid race of Adamites only have 6, and their female counterpart has 7. The 6th etheric state of existence, which does not include a soul, only body up to spirit. Question: so the Adamites are not the exact same as we are? Answer: yes, that is an actual fact. They were grafted and made in a set purpose in mind by the Anunnaki, named Nut-Immud or Enki, 6,000 years ago. Kind of man, not original man, that does not include all Caucasus or Caucasians of Europe who are Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal and Basque. The Adamites are separated from them, yet none of them are higher than 6 ether or 7 ether, and have the nutational rate is only up to 6 rates. Back to you and your own. You have 1 for each plane of existence. No Euro scientific instrument can detect or measure the presence of the higher, more refined abodes of existence. Atoms and energy of one nutational rate are not in rapport as it were with those of a different nutational rate, inasmuch as the nerves composing what they call 5 physical senses. I'll stop right there because the nutational rate, what I began at the beginning of this, the nutational rate will be the same on each plane. Whatever plane it is, no matter what's on that plane, the nutational rate is going to be the same. When you go to another plane, the nutational rate will be different, but everything on that plane will have the same nutational rate. So the 9 different planes in this one universe, they each have their own nutational rate, but it's specific to that plane. So whatever this nutational rate is here, that actually constricts the speed of light. When you go to a higher plane, it will be different. All right? So, question. Master Teacher, what do you mean what they call 5 senses? Answer. Well, the actual fact is all of the so-called 5 or 6 and 7 senses they claim to have is only one sense. You see each of them, see, hear, taste, smell, and feel, are only activated by contact. So that means people only have one sense: touch, feel, contact, and all are of atoms of the same nutational rate of those of the physical instrument. These so-called senses are also unable to perceive the higher abodes. However, certain powers inherent in the mind can provide the means whereby the upper planes, realms, and abodes may be seen. So like I was saying to you earlier, you said you feel people's energy. That means you have contact with certain higher energies or abodes where you are an empath of that opening. Back to the top, open, right? So, question. So, can we reach and use those powers? Answer. Yes, you can. And your ancestors, Nazaro, are there, and relatives who made it. You see, intelligent beings exist upon all 9 abodes, and the body of the persons who function upon all 9 planes are composed of atoms of that respective nutational rate, which is what I just went into. A being living upon one of the upper planes enjoys the inherent mental ability to naturally discern all the planes which are of a lower nutational rate than the plane upon which they happen to function. I'll stop right there. What that means is, when you excel spiritually, that you can exist on the next plane of existence, you not only overstand that plane, but you can discern everything on a lower plane. So a being such as the Master Teacher who's coming from a higher plane of existence, coming here is easy to him. He can figure out people's natures because his mutational rate is faster. So he sees us as a slow mutational rate, which means he can actually know how we're going to respond, how we're going to react to certain things, because he's from a higher plane of existence, right? You oftentimes visit the planes in your dreams, and you don't even realize it was real. You may travel through the 9 air pockets in space and beyond space to see the past then, the present now, and the future then. Right. Question. So, some of our dreams are real? Answer. Yes. Some are visions, warnings, and experiences, and you can learn to navigate them. Visit the past, yet when you visit the future, you lose life in this life. Question. What does that mean? How's he going to explain? Master Teacher says, answer. If you travel to the past and return, nothing is lost of your life now. Yet, if you travel to the future, for every moment there, you lose a year of this life, and the memory of it is lost to you as a warning. So that time is not altered. That can be explained in detail in another hereafter class later. So make note of this. Each person alive consists of 4 divine beings, all interpenetrating and coexisting. All atoms, regardless of that 9 variant mutational rates, are constructed generally in the same way. And because atoms are almost entirely empty space and separated from one another by relatively large distances, the 4 divine beings of a person simultaneously coincide in space. The component atoms respective to each being commingle without interference with one another. You all understand? Okay, a person's physical body is the one of which he is commonly aware. Yes, both males and females. The physical body is subject to time, temperature, and the chemical equilibrium unique to the slowest rotational rate. Only the physical plane is subject to time, for time is a function of matter and vice versa. Without matter, there can be no time. Without time, there can be matter. Question. So without time, would we not exist? Answer. Only the physical you, not all your other divine beings. They do not depend upon time or place to exist. Pa Basar, or the flesh body, the physical person, one of the four beings. 2. The next highest being of mortal beings functions on the second plane of existence, which is known as the spiritual plane. This being of human beings is called the vital, V-I-T-A-L, being. Coalesces the physical body and determines its shape. This is your nefesh, or nefas, pa-ka'ah, the spirit being. This is your personality, because the physical body, pa-katat, is consistently aging and breaking down, and by its telomeres, cell builders, renewing itself, the chemicals provided in your food, air, and water. The vital being maintains the pattern so you are recognizable from month to month on the Akak Mawan, etheric abode. It's also the energy which sustains the vestibule, spark of life. The spirit being, vital being, is within the seed, the root of every growing thing. And as the vital being regulates the healing process after wounds and or disease. 3. The next being, higher, which is the next above spirit or vital being, is known as the soul plane. This being of human beings who still have 1, the astral being, the nutational frequency components atoms is of the third abode of existence. This is your ruach, or your pa-ba'ah, the soul being. This is your divine connection to the oversoul. This is the abode and being human only used after death. It's your emotional being, your divine you. It coalesces the deities, your illuminated being. The astral or soul being corresponds to the common concept of what is called the soul, not to be mistaken for the spirit. They are not the same. And this abode or plane of light of mortals or aura and changes color in accordance to one's mood. Some persons of clairvoyant ability who have gained glimpses of the transcendent and radiant beauty of this plane exist and gave rise to the beautiful concept of heaven or haven, docking above, and the place of the life hereafter. You good? Any questions? Okay. We'll read a few more. Questions. Master Teacher, can we learn how to visit the haven? Answer. Yes. Yet not the Adamite, cursed seeds of Canaan, have lost their soul, and as all other animals only live with the body and spirit. And once their body dies, the spirit is trapped on a physical abode as ghosts, ghouls, spirit, orbs, shadow, apparition. That is the 6 beings of the lower evil self. Some in Islamism called the jinn. So you have to be very careful when you seek the higher realms. You may bring up the lower realms, like when the Polish women of Jewishism did when they invented the Ouija board and started the very first seances in Europe and opened a gateway to this abode by the evil spirits, shadow beings. So it's nothing to play with. The actual being or soul is composed of atoms on the etheric side of nothingness, just as a physical being is of atoms on the side of somethingness, the sum of physical things. The difference is in the nutational frequency. And the next being higher, which is the next abode, the soul of your emotional being, is known as the mind abode, or the mental plane. This being of the mortals, the fourth and highest being, is called the mental being. This is your mind. This being is not very well defined in most mortals. They don't use their own mental powers. They just get taught by Bible and Quranic fictions and fantasies, and only know to relate all things by what the Adamite has named or called things. For the last 6,000 years, his own stories, mostly lies, mixed with other racist cultures. So the creative mind is mostly unused until they have developed their own mind. And it is being done now with you all and Wu-Sabat as Nuwapians, with your own culture and language, breaking their spell consciously from its rather nebulous and immature state into a divine being, through which you may actively function on a mental abode of existence like all other deities. You're the next generation of master teachers, the prophets to come wake up and teach our own people, clear their minds from the highest estate of divine beings, and remember, jewels of my eyes, the Adamites were programmed with a mental defect caused by crossbreeding with the canine, simian, and the porcine. The result being his full brain ability is only that of a 13-year-old child. They never really grow up, and they, like beasts, they often regress back to their violent, unnatural nature of killing while wars and sports and a history of abuse to all others. Yet, as of you all, when one of your own race, by way of means and intellect, has advanced oneself to the extent that they have fully developed their mental being, they have then also achieved freedom from the 24 to 24,000 rebirths forever after. They are immortal, as I taught you all. All is, I am. I pray this hereafter class is clear until the next. Don't believe me, check things out. And that ends that particular one. That's called the atomic. It's a little long, but it goes to the next one. But just to give you an example of some of the higher knowledge this being has incarnated to give us. And if we're true students, diligent inquirers such as yourself, you can't get notebooks for the questions. That's what's supposed to happen. So when you do that, now you're showing you're a diligent inquirer, a true seeker. What develops out of those two is become a loyal student of the doctrine. When you become that, that's when you're going to notice a certain change. You begin to transform. This is a healing doctrine. It transforms you from what? From a mortal to a deity, which is what he read. It's all possible because we're deities now, but we're not using the full capacity of our mind to realize that. We think there's a separation between ourselves and that being called God. That's just not true. We are God. And God is God is, right? You know?
I believe that.
Yeah, you have to. And after the time, you're not even going to believe it. You're going to know it because it's going to manifest for you. You're like, yeah, I did that. You know, I did that. You know? All right. Let me see if there's any more questions. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions, so let me just go, I don't want to miss anything. Okay, Rob, back again to those who are watching with us. We appreciate you as always. All right, do you have any other questions? Are we good? Okay, good. So when you read that book or the other one that you got, just feel free. We have class every Sunday, unless we're doing something else. But like I said, I'm going to give you the phone number. You can keep in touch that way. Plus, you live so close, you can always just come by. So, again, we're going to start off with the Saturday, which is like a family fun night. We just come together, listen to music, maybe play some board games, casual conversation, just getting used to coming around each other in a social setting as opposed to going out into the world, spending your money with strangers, being involved with certain environments that's not conducive to your spiritual development. It actually stunts that, because while you're focusing on that, you could be doing something more positive. You know what I mean? So we'll do that. Sunday we have class. Again, a lot of people on the call. A lot of people went to Brooklyn to help the fundraiser that we have for the Master Teachers Legal Fund. So we understand that. But again, feel free to come by anytime. And yeah, we appreciate you coming. Right? So with that, we're going to end our class today. Wadu Washuk, which means farewell and divine love. Don't let me forget to give you the flyer. Okay? I got it.
Are you familiar with the clubhouse?
Yeah, I used to teach on Clubhouse a couple of years ago. Oh, look like there's a question. Uh-huh.
Through another brother that taught you before, but I was.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right, well, before we end the class, I saw your question. Right, in Patarak, 30 spirits. If we have 27 spirits when we are born, because our parents still living, will we have less? If our yes, right. The totality of spirits that you can have is 30, right? But depending on who's still alive, that number goes down. So if your grandparents and your parents are still alive, you deduct them that number from the 30. So you can have as many as 25, 26, depending on how long your other relatives are alive. That is correct. That's correct. All right. And Wadu Washuk, we'll see you all next week.